I'd like to call the Bolton Conservation Committee to order. It is Tuesday, April 15th, tax day. So, first order of business.
Oh, you into the roll call?
I will do the roll call, sorry. So I'll do a roll call. Robert Cohen,
Jim Stone?
Brian Barrowby.
Maria Berman, Laura Stevenson.
And Carol Gumbright.
so the first on the agenda was Avery, but Avery has continued.
Well, they're requesting a continuation. I received an email from Jacqueline McGarry yesterday, and you guys had a site visit after the last meeting. She said, unfortunately, my neighbors and I have not been able to obtain the documents that would bring meaningful new information to the Conservation Commission regarding the proposed paving project, i.e. our second paving bid, and Pace's MESA plan. So I think it would be best for us to delay the meeting with the commission. Sorry for any inconvenience to the committee. We did not expect that it would take so long to finish these two steps. So I had emailed her back, but I hadn't heard back yet. I didn't know whether they wanted more time, just 2 weeks, or if they wanted to wait till the next meeting in May. But I guess since we don't know, we probably should just do it to the next meeting.
When we continue something, they have to sign something, or because they
Well,
didn't start?
they made the request in writing, so
Okay.
we at least have that. And I guess, I'm not 100% sure, since I wasn't at the site visit, what you're really waiting for. And I don't know whether, you can just tell me, Lori gave me an idea that you were talking about swales, but I don't know whether you're waiting to have an engineered plan, or whether you're getting, if their paving contractor's gonna design it, and whether swales was sufficient, or did it need detention, or
I
set
think
on a
they were trying to come up with that. Yeah.
So they still didn't really have a design on that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's appropriate for me to speak, but the,
You have to announce who you are.
Bob Pace,
Thank you.
when we did that sidewalk, we talked about possibly doing a swale, okay, and I thought it was a grassed swale. They were, in that email, they're looking for a paving contractor to design that. I don't think that's the case. Okay, part of our arrangement is I'm going to pay for the pavement, and I'm gonna get that designed. It's more, I want to design it once, okay, and almost like, when you're ready to do this, I know you're not tonight, okay, but, if you're going to elect to pave that, okay, or stop somewhere, or whatever it is, give that a conditional approval subject to me getting the plan drawn for that, okay, I think that would be more appropriate, rather than me bringing something down I don't know what you're gonna vote on, okay, and.
I don't think we normally give conditional approvals unless we've seen what's going on.
Can I also just say one thing? So what's before you is a request for determination of applicability. So they're
Yeah.
asking you to determine whether or not the work is applicable to the Wetlands Protection Act, and whether the work needs a notice of intent, or whether the work, it doesn't, So based on your site visit, you should have been able to determine, yes, it's within resource areas, so therefore, is any of the work potentially gonna have an impact on the resource area, and is it significant enough? And that may be what you don't know yet, but maybe you do, as to whether you would require a notice of intent. Because one thing is that rather than continuing the request forever and ever, if you're going to require a notice of intent, it would be good to tell them, you're gonna have to file a notice of intent, we're gonna need plans that are engineered, we're gonna need, designs that meet stormwater standards, that kind of thing. If that's the requirement, then at least then they can move ahead and, get the planning. So I just didn't know whether we could give them any more guidance. I think you still have to continue it since they're not here. But if we gave them more guidance as to, we're probably gonna require a notice of intent, so you should be thinking about, hiring some, either Mr. Pace's engineer or whomever, to design this. Or if you think, based on what you saw, it was fairly straightforward, simple, not gonna have any impact, really minor changes, and you think it can be done as a determination, then you could say, this is, I guess I just think it would be helpful to give them some guidance.
I think I said the same thing, just not as eloquently as you did.
Within the regulatory framework is what I'm working for.
I think a lot was left up in the air also, because they really weren't quite sure what they were doing. You were getting Heritage's report back.
Right, the base plan, right.
And so as far as I don't think any of us had issues about repaving it. And so I think a lot was kind of up in the air with what
Yeah.
role you were gonna be playing in the whole matter, whether you're putting that house in.
And that's what I am trying to ascertain. If what you're saying is, yeah, we don't have a problem with paving, okay? Then let me go and get a design, and I'll bring it in as a full plan,
Right.
okay? And we'll let the engineer, okay, or Carol or somebody meet out there and say, this is a, what is the term, does it need a new notice of intent, or can it be done under the,
Consistent.
right, okay? And either way, I don't care, I'm just
Yeah.
looking for some
So it's up to
direction.
the board to make that determination, though. I
Yeah.
don't have any authority
Yeah.
to make it, so that's,
You know, whether it
But
was
you guys
following
were out on the
that.
sidewalk, do you think it's gonna end up being with a notice?
Well, also you had the house going in and.
The new driveway.
The new driveway going in.
Which I think is gonna need a notice.
Right, so, you know, whether that was, you know, to incorporate the whole unit. So that's why it was kind of left up in the air on which way we were going, because, you know, it kind of
Yeah.
fell back into your hands. I
Well,
think.
yeah, and that's why I, even though they were ready, okay, tonight, I think that there could have been discussion like this, and the biggest party to this was, you have no problem with the pavement. If you have no problem with the pavement, I'll go and I will, and I know it's on a vote, but you know, you give me, okay, the signs that, you know, you're not going to have a problem with that, and I'll go design this, I'll get it done, and we'll bring it in, and I'll have a NISA plan the next time, maybe we can get this done.
well, can I go back? There's also, and I'm not sure whether that you've had any discussions, but there's also the planning board special permit process where it's a common driveway. If you're doing some of these kind of improvements, the stormwater in particular, an improvement to stormwater, they were gonna require a special permit, review. So you do, I guess, it didn't sound like just because you were gonna do lot 4, it was gonna trigger that, it was more the improvements, you know?
Yeah, the only question was, and I think you had it, is the planning board gonna wanna see a driveway brought up to town standards with turnouts and so on and so forth, and, you know, okay, again, not the end of the world, okay?
And we did look at that, and discuss it. You know.
And the only question was, I guess that's town land on the right-hand side as you're driving in?
Right,
Oh,
it's
okay.
conservation land.
That's the, I think everybody agrees, that's the place that you'd have a turnout.
That big field is town
Yeah,
land?
I
Yeah,
believe
it's
so.
conservation land.
Yeah, so, you know, I mean, if this board, if I could go to the planning board and say, you know, we've been there, in order to do that, Bob, you haven't had the pleasure of walking that in the pouring rain, but
That's why I'm
We can-
chair,
we can
that's why I'm
arrange for
chair.
yeah. We're only talking probably one turnout there, and we're talking about, you know, where the light, where the lamppost was right after that.
And that's where people are parking anyway.
What's that?
And that's where I pull over when
Yeah.
I go over
Right.
there. You know, because the other thing is, so, I mean, one advantage when you're talking about a turnout is that, I mean, the commission could consider too, and if we wanted a parking spot or two there,
Right,
since
it
we,
could be access for the.
right, because
Yeah, for the
there's a trail there.
Yeah, which, okay, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Let's have a little discussion about that. If that's the board's pleasure, okay, you know, I'll do that, okay? And I'll design it, and we talked about bringing the swale down right from there, a grass swale, so a treatment swale, okay?
I guess the question, 'cause since I wasn't on the sidewalk, I think the first step is, are they gonna have to file a notice, or are you gonna find a negative determination?
Well, I think it's wrapping all into the house development.
Yeah,
And that's why it was left up in the air, because he is putting in one more house, so that's going to require filing. So whether he's going to wrap it all into that same.
so they might as well do a filing,
Yeah.
otherwise,
I agree.
otherwise we'll just keep coming back, because it's very difficult, we can give you ideas, but it's up to you to bring us what you think is right, and then we can guide you better that way.
And all I ever try to do, I mean, this board has been a very cooperative board with me. You know, I think we've slayed some dragons here, getting places cleaned up and so on. I would like to think that, you know, I'm coming here, I'm looking for some guidance. If there's an area that you want to park two cars there and you don't see an issue because it's conservation land, so be it. I'll design it. I don't want to design it. I don't want to come here, have a plan, and design it again. okay, you want 3 parking spaces, or 3 parking spaces there. But, you know, I mean, whenever.
Well, sometimes when you come with a rough plan, because you'll get more input that way. Just because you get input and come with a plan doesn't mean there aren't gonna be
I,
changes. And just for your information, I think dragons are an endangered species, so.
well, that's why we have, okay, the endangered species board involved in this.
But the additional house, of course, is the only reason that the thing is being paved in the first place. so that
Right,
it's
because
dry.
they wouldn't have done it. Okay, so, or maybe they would have, but they wouldn't have done it to the extent that I'm planning to do. So, that was good input. That's,
So I think, so based on, again, since the applicants aren't here, and it wasn't clear definitively whether Lot 4 was in it, you know, we should continue it to the next meeting. But I think if you're giving Bob the indication that a notice of intent would be, is what you'd be leaning towards for the work. Personally, I would almost think it even without his lot, to be honest, with the drainage, but again, I don't know the extent of the drainage, so that's the only reason it
Well, I
would be
think
hard
on
to
the other
say.
side, you probably need some kind of detention basin or something for it to go in.
For his driveway coming down?
Coming down, because
Yeah.
on the, as you're heading in, you have that long span of
Yeah.
field. That a grassy swale probably would have worked and it would have been fine, but you have the same scenario going up on a short.
Yeah, it's fairly steep there.
Very steep,
Yeah.
and there's nowhere for it to go but straight into the water.
Yeah,
yeah,
So that was gonna need some
we'll,
work.
we'll design some kind of treatment facility there.
With also keeping it out of the trailhead. That's right
So I'd like to make a motion to continue Avery 397 Berlin Road until April 29th, meeting 2014 at 7:30 PM. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
so we'll continue this.
okay.
But you might just want to do a notice of intent. It might save you.
No,
some time.
I intend to at least see if we can get it done.
Do you have
Um,
legal notices for these?
I
They're supposed
do,
to
and
be?
since they're, I wonder where they are, I wonder if they didn't go to the.
Maybe they went to town hall.
But while Bob's here and they're not here quite yet,
Yeah.
would you want to sign, I have on the agenda,
Oh, yeah, he lost his,
well, we don't know, one of us lost it, somebody lost the original signed deed restriction, they just want to do a duplicate.
okay. Did he pay the lost
I
duplicate deed
paid
restriction
money,
fee?
Um,
We charge by the word, so I don't know,
Sure.
we'll see what it looks like.
It just has to be signed by the chair. And it had, this was for lot 1, so this was the breakout grading for the septic system.
Did we already
And-
sign this?
Yes, you
one?
already did, and I have a copy of it, I just don't have the original. So they couldn't record the copy.
You weren't here, so they blamed you, but.
Okay.
Did I sign it?
Yeah,
I think I signed it.
here, I'm gonna show you. Is that your signature?
Yes, if you want to call it a signature.
And yes.
I'll re-sign it. So if you lose this one, you're in
Right, so
trouble.
this
No,
is,
that-
everyone's
this is-
witnessing
this
this.
is recorded, it's on
Yeah,
television.
real problem.
Everyone in town will know.
He's gonna bring it
about
to the registry.
They'll call me Dopey Smurf.
Can I give this to Bob?
I'm gonna, yeah, we're gonna
Do you
give it to
make a
him.
copy again?
He's gonna get me the copy, let me just take the note off.
I'm gonna record it anyway.
Okay. So, everyone to the witness. All
Thank
right,
you.
So since the scout's on here, do you want to skip to some of the other stuff?
sure. Let's see if they come. If not, I can go over their stuff with, you know.
Yeah. So let's skip up to, so we do this. This is continued. So why don't we skip up into this, this. Should we talk about Bishop Sargent?
Sure. So Bishop was the old name from the original application, and then Jack Sargent came in at our last meeting to talk about their request for certificate of compliance. And I think you also had a site visit after that meeting. So I don't know if anybody wants to recap that. And give a recommendation, or just give a recommendation?
Yeah, I don't think anybody had issues.
No, I mean, it was torrential downpours that day, and yeah, everything was functioning fine. There was a lot of water flowing. It was gravel where it was supposed to be gravel. Didn't see really anything.
Did you see the silt fence still up after all these years? Because Carol showed me some pictures of it today, isn't this the
Oh,
property?
no, this is a different one.
Oh, never
Okay.
mind. Which one had the silt fence?
Nichols.
That was Nichols,
Yep.
wrong culprit.
But did they have any silt fence up? I think they had pulled it out the last time when he'd been in. I don't think that there should have been. I'm pretty sure he had taken that out. Okay.
So do we need to vote on,
Yeah, somebody needs to make a motion.
make a motion to grant a certificate of compliance to Sergeant 57 Hudson Road?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Right, so then you need to sign it.
It's very strange the Boy Scouts got lost on the way here. That's what's happening to the world. Maybe we can find an old lady and send her out to find her.
No, they have a phone number. I don't know if I can get
Not in
somebody.
here. And no one leaves.
No.
I'm gonna try
Just
calling
down the
somebody
street.
while you guys are signing that.
Is someone else using the selectmen's room tonight?
I believe advisory is.
Well, if they're not waiting in advisory.
Picked it up and listened for the dial tone.
So something, maybe on YouTube, where these kids were given stuff that we grew up with, they didn't know how to use it or what it was, like a rotary phone. They didn't know what to do.
There's a wonderful website, there's a professor from University of Minnesota who does a big thing every year for the professors on incoming freshmen and what they don't know or see, and they're fantastic every year. Like things, you sound like a broken record, they don't know what a record is, or even if you say cassette,
Yeah,
you know, CDs were started before they were born, they've never had anything lower bonded than a CD.
yeah, they showed, I think it was on TV, and they showed these kids trying to open like a Sony Walkman and put the tape in, they had to give them instructions.
I have a pencil with a round piece of plastic on the end for you to put in the dial so you don't memorize.
Hi Henry,
Oh,
this
yeah,
is Carol
remember
Gunhart
that.
from Bolton
Kids-
Conservation
kids had
Office,
no idea.
and I'm at the meeting at 697 Main Street in the Houghton Building. We don't have anybody here to represent the Scouts, and I just wondered if you were not being able to find us, or whether you weren't the right person who was expecting tonight. Anyway, we will wait a little bit, and if not,
That's
we
not
can
the
try to
in-person,
discuss it
it
without
won't
you
be
here.
the
Thank you. All right, so I didn't get the guy who I met with, who was their representative. I think the other numbers for their office, so we'll wait and see.
Yeah, well, wait, we can do the other, we can do Morte next, and then we'll do Nichols last.
Okay.
So Morte is 209, 211, 213, 217, 223, and 225 Green Road, common driveway. A request for certificate of compliance. And anybody go see it beside Carol?
I don't think so. I went out, actually before I went on vacation. So, we had, this came about because we'd sent out letters to some of the people who had outstanding orders that we were trying to close out the files on. And this project had originally been filed as an after-the-fact filing for some work on their, maintenance of their driveway, and it was really maintaining sort of the swales and putting in some swales that needed, that they needed up at the top of their driveway. There's a really long hill that goes pretty far back, and some of it didn't have all the drainage that they needed. So the big thing that we got out of the review was that they put together an operation and maintenance plan, and everything looks like it's been working fine and is being maintained. And Steve Morday sent a letter that said, in accordance with the order of conditions, I can certify that there's been substantial compliance with the above plan and the operation and maintenance plan for the stormwater manager, and for the stormwater management system that has worked successfully. I respectfully request a certificate of compliance.
Is he an engineer or is he one of the residents?
He's one of the residents.
Okay.
But the commission did not require any other engineering as part of the certificate of compliance. They only asked that
Yep,
they send a letter when they were done, you know.
okay.
So I would recommend you issue a certificate of compliance.
So I'll make a motion to issue certificate of compliance for 209, 211, 213, 217, 223, and 225 Green Road on the common driveway represented by Morte. I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, I should have said, this one has the continuing condition of the stormwater maintenance.
Okay.
So.
We have some sort of computerized tickler system and all these things that have ongoing things.
Well, I
so
have a
that can be followed
spreadsheet
up
on this one, I mean, on the orders of conditions.
So we don't have a system that will automatically tell you
No.
every year, every 2 years to check on it?
No, and it's really not our responsibility, it's the owners and the applicant. They get the order, it's part of their order that they get a certificate of compliance. So in the letters I've been sending.
No, I'm talking about the maintenance plans, to make sure that.
Oh, the maintenance
They're actually
plans.
doing the maintenance plans.
You could put it in your Comcast email, in your calendar, that it would send you an update.
Yeah.
You know, like once a year to check
I don't know if I've done that
on
with
it,
any of this.
once every other year, depending on the person.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, there's a lot of things we should be checking, but I could think about putting that in. I'll
Yeah.
make a note of that. Like, we should be checking our conservation restrictions on an annual basis.
Mhm.
So we should
Yeah,
probably get that
okay.
started at some point too.
Outlook calendar too.
Yeah, I have Outlook, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about a request for certificate of compliance on Nichols, 601 to 603 Main Street.
Okay, so this also came about because we were trying to close out the file, and I only was able to get out there yesterday, so I did take some pictures, and there is still some silt fence that needs to be removed, as well as, there's some dumping over the back slope.
Is this the dumping here, or is this
Yeah,
the dumping?
both of those are.
Okay.
This is, if you head east on the north side of 117, just a few doors down really from Town Hall, or almost, before you get to the Bolton Office Park, and before you get to Delta Financial, there's two small houses, and they had to upgrade their septic system. The septic system was failing, and they had to relocate the well in order to upgrade the
Three of us,
septic
I
system.
think, did a sidewalk there.
Okay.
You were there too, Maria,
No,
I
I
think.
was not at this
I've been
one.
Amy.
Maybe it was Amy. Yeah, it was about 2 years, 3 years ago.
Yeah, and so they relocated the well, which is what they had the silt fence established to go back out for that, and then they put boulders in front, which you can see the boulders are there. And I hadn't really been on the site a whole lot. In fact, I think it was Amy, because I remember somebody did a pretty good job supposedly of checking out the delineation. And I thought maybe Amy said she did, she went down. kinda
There was
got
some
stuck
woods on
in
the
area.
side
Yeah,
with a lot of
yeah.
thorns.
And anyway, so I don't know if there was stuff that was always being dumped on the slopes, but it seems like if we're gonna ask them to pull the silt fence, it would be appropriate to say, there's some other
Mhm.
material that really should be cleaned up and picked up as well.
So we're gonna write them a letter?
Yeah, I would like to hold off on making a recommendation
Okay.
until they take that out, because that's sort of the impetus to,
Mhm.
that last final step, get that done, clean the stuff up. And the permit's already, expired at this point, so this is mostly just cleaning it up, closing it out. What's that? Oh.
Lights out, I was trying to figure out.
So we don't need to sign a vote on anything on
No, I'm not making a recommendation that you.
that? Okay,
do it, yeah.
so we can skip now to Fishire lowering project update.
Okay, so, we hired Acton Survey and Engineering to do an easement plan that closed off a couple of branches on the common driveway and defined the area on 14 Collins Road where the contractor's going to go. And that survey plan, I'm gonna pick it up in the morning tomorrow, but I have a, a digital copy, and town council was able to finalize the easement documents. So I would like to have you guys vote to enter into the easement, temporary construction easements, and sign those. I have left the copies with the owners. I picked up one copy tonight, and I'm hopefully gonna pick up the rest of them tomorrow.
So we're just gonna vote tonight, and they'll have to come in and sign it?
No, I'm gonna have you sign it tonight too.
Okay,
Yep. So let me give it to you.
so I make a
and then-
motion that we sign the easements, and this is in the Berlin property?
Yeah,
For access to the lowering of the Fishire Dam. Second, all in favor?
Aye.
all right, just gonna get the motion. Sorry, second, Jim? So there's two documents. There's one is the common driveway and one's the access easement over the O'Dell's. You can look them over if you want. They're pretty much the same exact thing, and the easement plan is attached here, or I'll send it separately. Let's see. They're pretty much the exact same as what you signed in terms of the agreements.
Yep.
You know, just it references this new plan.
This is the schematic.
Yeah.
So is the construction date still on track, you think?
I think, the contractor gave us an extension till April 22nd to award the bid, so that's why I'm under the pressure now to pick up the other ones so that, I'm gonna see town council on Thursday morning, unrelated, and I was gonna hopefully give her everything so she could go and record them. And then the bid will be awarded, and then I believe he's probably gonna start mid-May, that's what his intention was. And that's the earliest he could,
Yeah.
so.
How often should we go down and inspect the work?
Well, when we have an order of conditions, so we'll have a pre-construction meeting with that person
Mhm.
and set up a schedule at that point, but at least once a week, if not more regularly than that. The engineers are gonna be looking it over on our behalf, so hopefully that'll give us some extra eyes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
that's not bad.
since it's, it's a big project and an expensive one,
How long do they believe it's gonna take?
maybe a month and a half.
Okay, so it's not too bad.
I mean, that's our guesstimate, that's what we've been thinking. I have some other things for you to sign under
Okay.
correspondence, if you wanna jump.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know where we were, yeah, I guess we were at that point.
Yeah, well,
So, I have some bills. One is, they're both actually to Treescapes, which is Mark Case. One was for the mowing he did last fall, when he came in and brought in the bill for the Forbush Mill Road dam work. He brought that one in, so that's there.
we just need to sign once.
Yeah.
Anywhere?
Just on, sign, just go
Up
down
kind
the
of
page. down the
underneath
page.
Bob, that's good. And, I have the DPW's operation and maintenance plan, their vegetative management plan for the roadside, work, which is pretty much the same as it was last year. It is the same as it was last year. So it only has to be signed by, the chairperson. And, you know, I don't have any real comments. It's, you know, they basically try to do manual, you know, work where they can. And then there's poison ivy and other places that they have to use spray. And then they have identified in the past, and we usually go through it, review it, you know, where the wetlands are, and then they have to stay a certain distance away from that, you know, with some of their sprays. So, you'll see Conservation Commission there. Okay, that's not it. And then I have a request from the New England Wildflower Society to have site permission to lead a walk in August, on August 6th, from 10 to 2 to study plant study and natural history. And maximum number of people would be like 15 people, and they're not intending to really go off the trail, and they're not intending to pick anything. And so it's just to sign a,
At Von Hill.
yeah, Von Hill, to give them our permission to use the property for that. Nobody has any objection?
Does that need to be signed?
Yes. It could be anybody for that. Hello.
Why are they coming to Bond Hill?
What's that?
Why are they coming to Bond Hill? Is there anything?
I think the guy who's leading it just knows the area a little bit and has an interest in the plants there. I don't know that they're looking at anything specific. He didn't tell me that. No, he didn't say. Just, he's a volunteer with the, you know, with the.
Have they been to some of our other sites before?
Well, we have, they monitor some plants over at the lime kiln, because
Okay.
they're more rare plants, you know, so they do have site regular inspections that they do to see what the populations are over there. And then, I mean, they may go other places, but that's the only one they report to me on. Right, so that's all I had. Oh, wait, I have a couple of other announcements. I'll send you a link, but similar to the DPW's operation and maintenance plan, there's a online version of the right-of-way management for the railroad. Years ago, they had actually come in and done a delineation. It was a long time ago, but now they every year just put their form up on the website, and you know, you're allowed to take a look at it and see if there's anything you're concerned about. The other couple of quick announcements were that the selectmen ended up canceling their meeting this Thursday, but they were going to talk about Tennessee Gas Pipeline. So when they have their next meeting, we probably should have some representation
Yes.
so that we can participate in that discussion. And then today we had just a staff meeting, and they talked a little bit about the annual town meeting. So annual town meeting's May 5th, so we meet the 29th, and then the town meeting's a couple nights later. Well, almost a week later, Monday night. One of the things that we had on our agenda tonight, but we'll be skipping over it, but is Northwoods. It's on the agenda, it's on the town meeting to accept the roads. And so I've been told by the developer and Brandon Ducharme that everything's, you know, now been done that relates to Conservation Commission. So they were gonna come in, originally they weren't sure if it was gonna be too wet, and they weren't gonna be able to do some of the work that they needed to, just to button some things
So
up.
there's no punch list for us now?
Well, there were things, there was removing silt fence at the outlet of one of the stormwater pipes, putting in riprap, which may or may not have been installed. We couldn't see it the last time I'd been there because it was under
Yeah.
snow. And then they needed to mow the edge of the detention basins, the slopes of the detention basins. Now, I'm not sure how they did that. They may have done it with mechanical, you know, I don't know what they used, because they could, first of all, it'd be too steep and too soft now to really bring
Right.
equipment on it. But it was really the outlet of the sediment forebay that we wanted to make sure that that got cleaned out. So I'm gonna take a look probably on Thursday with Brandon, and
Okay.
then we'll just carry it forward to the next meeting. But the bigger thing, so anyway, there may be questions or comments for the commission on that. The bigger thing is really the budget. There's been, I guess, a resident held a meeting at the public library where they talked about like a number of amendments that they would want to pose to the budget, and it sounded like it could be line item by line item, you know, objecting to different, you know, things. And so one of the things that had come up when Brian and I had gone to the advisory committee was the use of the conservation funds. So the conservation, the trust fund. So that could come up, in which case we should make sure somebody's there prepared to discuss it and support it, staying in the budget the way it is.
Are you going line item by all departments?
Well, you know, usually the moderator kind of will go through like a page and say, you know, if there's any questions on any of these, you know, let me know, and we can come back to that. You know, if not, he'll move to the next page. So I'm not quite sure. I imagine he'll want to do it the same way he usually does, but it's been discussed that there's people who are not supportive of the budget as it's been approved, both by the selectmen and the advisory committee. So it could be a long budget review, is what they're saying, and which could force it into a second night. Most of the other
Where's our
items that
budget?
they.
Is it in the front of the budget or the back?
Close to the
I-
back.
Well,
Because I won't be
I'll
there
have
the
to
second
look,
night.
yeah, I'll have to look at the warrant. They you haven't received it in the mail yet, right? No.
I saw them working on it today when I was in town.
Yeah,
hall.
that's right, they just put it in the mail, you're right, that's what they're supposed to be doing. I haven't looked at the
In the
final one.
past, it seems like it's towards the end.
Yeah, and the school budget's within the budget, you know, so that's,
Yeah.
you know, also.
Are you allowed to
discussion.
speak at town meeting?
I am if, yes, I can be, but usually what we've done is, you know, I've sat with members of the commission
Yeah.
and have tried to, you know, had the backup material or
Because
whatever.
we have to explain why that money shouldn't be touched and taken away. And if it's the second night, I won't be there, so we have to designate someone to speak. And if no one wants to speak, then you go up there and say, I'm from the Conservation Commission, and I'd like to bring Carol up. So either way,
Yeah.
but we need somebody prepared ahead of time.
Right.
Because we kind of know what the objections are gonna be, and we have to give, you know, the reasons why we need to keep that intact.
Yeah. So if anybody needs anything else, I mean, I know we talked about it a lot when we were doing the budget, so hopefully that's okay. But it sounded like it would, most likely, would get through the budget, hopefully the first night, and then whatever other articles,
Okay.
you know, but.
We still have,
Well, it's almost, a couple minutes before kind of, let's see, do we have any, how about you want to just do the minutes? And then
yeah,
we'll be
let's do
done
the
with that.
minutes, yeah.
So I had sent out 2 sets, even though I had on the agenda just the ones for March, but I, you know, still going through my backlog. Although I had sent you the ones for, I think, August 14th, 2012.
You remember those, Jim, don't you?
I wasn't born yet.
So we want to vote on both of those?
Yeah, if you're good, if you're.
It's
fine.
August,
What is that, August 15th?
it's the 20th or something.
August
2012.
14th, 2012.
August 14th, 2012. So can people vote on it just by reading it?
Well,
If they
at
weren't
this
there?
point, you kind of have to, because otherwise I can just submit them without anybody ever approving them, but Lori was around.
So I make a motion that we accept the minutes from our meeting of August 14th, 2012. There's a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And I make a motion to accept the minutes from March 25th, 2014. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay.
Is this the 7:45? Do you have the legal notice?
Yes.
didn't see any Boy Scouts on your way over here, did you?
Our, two of our
I saw two
Meetings.
boys running up the driveway to town hall.
Yeah, they do have scout meetings over there, too, yeah. Over at the Davis Hall, at the church.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Bolton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing under the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and under the Bolton Wetland Bylaws, Section 1.18, to consider request for determination filed by oh, this is the wrong one. Let's go back. This is...
Should be the bottom one, maybe?
Let me see. Yes, this is the second one. The Bolton Conservation will hold a public hearing on the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and under the Bolton Wetlands Bylaw, Chapter 233, on Tuesday, April 15, 2014, at 7:45 p.m. A notice of intent filed by Jeffrey O'Neill, is it the Condé, how do you pronounce that?
Condyne?
Condine.
Condé Capital Partners LLC, proposing the redevelopment of a portion of the existing Bolton office park for assisted living care facility at 580 Main Street. The notice of intent is available for review, and I have to read all that. Come on down.
Should I just set these on the table?
Yeah, that'd be good. So are you Jeffrey?
I am Mark Dibb.
Mark
with
Dibb?
Condine.
I'm Jeffrey.
You're Jeffrey O'Neill, okay.
I'm with the engineering group, the civil engineer for the
You have the
project.
spelling of his name?
I do. We're in the application.
The project we have proposed tonight is proposed at the 580 Main Street property on Bolton. The highway is here, you come off through the light, and it's on the left. You see, it's called the Bolton Office Park. There's an existing office building. The footprint is around 47,000 square feet with a couple of floors. It has about a rentable area of about 120,000 square feet. That building exists, all the parking and infrastructure associated with that exists. A pressure dose leach field is up in this area for that facility. And there are also a couple existing wells that serve that building as well. The site has a brook that runs along the side of it. The floodway has been identified on that as this dark line. It comes around the back as well. The wetlands were flagged and are delineated as this green line coming around here, as well as up in this area. There's an existing drainage pond here. The wetlands are behind that. So actually this little piece of wetlands is associated with that drainage pond, as well as there's some overflows out of that have been designed previously to overflow into the wetlands. There is existing access drives, dirt drives that service the town properties in the back. This is a pump house for some of the water for the building. Again, this is all existing parking lot in the back of the building. Let's see, next. So this is again an overall plan of the site. What we're proposing is an assisted living facility that will have approximately 60 beds within. Right now, we've proposed as 20 studio units, 21 bedroom units, and 10 two-bedroom units. The facility, and it's got a footprint of 25,869 currently. And what we're proposing is to subdivide the lot, in order to allow the two buildings per zoning, so the lot would be subdivided. The existing lot is 39 acres. The proposed lot that would service the assisted living facility would be approximately 20 acres.
So the front one will be left with 19, is that it?
Yes. The building is situated, let's such that it'll share the driveway coming in, it'll utilize, some of the existing parking, or at least the parking area may be modified to suit the proposal. This blue line, dashed line, is the existing parking, so a significant portion of the building is still within the existing parking
Say that
area.
again, sorry, the blue line's what?
The blue line is the existing
Oh, it was,
pavement.
okay, I wasn't 100% sure when I
You know,
looked at it.
and
So
the
this pavement over here is gonna be ripped up?
yes,
Okay.
with some green spaces, which is actually why the project is being considered a redevelopment project per stormwater guidelines. We're actually decreasing overall for the entire area, we're actually decreasing impervious area, which is why it's classified for stormwater purposes as redevelopment.
So what you're saying is that this section here that's being, this little section here is equal to this whole section here? It's in the blue?
As well as there's more pavement being removed in this area.
Okay.
Throughout the whole, I mean, this is all existing pavement.
So this has a footprint of 25,000 square
Yes.
feet?
Yep.
And what's the footprint that's gonna be changed from parking lot into the grass area?
Don't have those exact numbers, but we are reducing, overall, we're reducing impervious, so this entire, right on this. So all this area in here is being turned into green space,
Yeah,
as well. Even this parking that's proposed is on top of existing parking in all of this area, as well as turning into green space.
but this whole area is not green space. So that's why I was wondering what the difference
Right,
is.
that's building area.
Because just, I don't know if it's to scale, but it looks like the building is greater than the part that's turned back into pervious area.
Let's go to the next drawing. It's a bigger-
Also,
Scale.
before you steer this one, what happened to the access road to the town property?
Right, we're gonna
Over here.
provide it off the end here. We do need to, per our existing special permit from the 80s approximately,
Mhm.
or late 80s, I think, we are going to maintain that. Yeah, so
Mhm.
basically, maybe this shows a little clearer. All this green space inside this blue, any green space you see
Mhm.
is new green space. So basically that green space, and it even wraps around here, offsets for this portion of the building.
Just that portion of the building.
Because the other part's
This is
already
already-
paved.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that's on pavement as well.
Okay.
That's already paid.
Have you included all the walkways as impervious space?
Yes, and well, this outer walkway is, we're proposing as pervious, whether it's pervious
Okay.
asphalt or, it's not a significant, with the exception of the concrete walk that would come along the pavement and parking.
Okay.
We're proposing this portion, because it's also, you'll see, this is the 75-foot upland buffer. This tan line is the 25-foot wetland resource area.
Mhm.
So, and another thing to look, in this dark line is the limit of work. So basically,
This is
the
limited-
entire area is within either pavement, existing pavement, or existing grass. We're actually physically, with the exception of one pile of briars right here, that I
Okay.
couldn't stake this corner of the building, I know it well. It's all within mowed lawn. We can
Okay.
actually replace some of that mowed lawn with the natural, there's some good areas of longer natural grass, that unmaintained grass.
Mhm.
We can replicate that a little bit more. Some other, the proposed leach field will be up in this area. We've done test pits, perk tests, everything will work out for the proposed.
And that's all out of the
system.
resource area of the beach?
That is out of the resource area.
Okay.
Now, the loss in parking space for the original building isn't gonna be affected? You're not gonna be looking for additional parking space to support the original building somewhere else?
We may just as a need for the building, we may expand one small portion of parking. And the overall site is actually set up, historically, there was a third office area. So I believe that all this, like this extra parking out here, yes.
Are you drilling new wells for this building?
We're anticipating a new well, at least one new well out on this portion of the property. In this area off the, yes.
So is that within resource area? Under the
With-
bylaw, or?
It would be within, yes, I think it would be within the
75 foot?
75 foot, yes. The
And this
exact.
is grass here now? Or no? Where the well's going?
That is, actually, I have it, the circle is here. This is the basin. Let's go back to,
The first picture.
yeah, it's right here off the side of this basin. It'd be accessed coming around here. This is maintained area.
It's a new well or the existing well?
That would be a new well,
And that's existing basin though?
yes.
There's always water.
Yes, there's always water. Things like the
And that's
mechanicals-
remaining, that basin's remaining?
Yes, that'll remain. Things like the mechanical systems designed for the building and well sizing, things like that are not complete at this point,
Mhm.
but we are proposing a well in this vicinity.
Now, is there work gonna go on through this area to get the water from the well?
This well would serve the the existing building, because these are the
Oh.
existing, oops.
So this is the existing well?
Yes.
To the right, and those are gonna serve.
And it's too
the
close
same-
to the new building, or?
Correct, this existing well is too close,
So you're just gonna cap it?
yeah, and replace that.
And you're gonna do it over here,
Yes.
and pipe it through the parking
It
lot?
would come, yes, it would come up this way,
To this building?
yes.
And where's the well for the new building then?
Right here, we would use an
Where's that?
existing well.
Are you using,
Yes, that
so what's
is,
this, you have two existing wells? is that-
yes. They both currently come to a pump house, which serves the facility.
So-
If we need two wells, spaced out 50 or 100 feet apart, some details such as the sizing of these wells is not complete yet, because the.
And this well will
full-
take care of the assisted living by itself?
Yes.
But I think Jim was asking, which I guess would still pertain to the existing well, how would the water line run?
Is it going to the pump house?
Is it going to the pump house? Does it go through any resource area?
The
Like
existing
wetland
well
resource?
would come straight out, the existing well that would be utilized for the assisted living facility would come straight out and over to this end of the building. So I've included a work limit, and I've included that work.
Okay, that's
in
that
this.
little jog there.
Yes,
But the new well,
The new well's going the other direction.
it's going straight to the building and not to the pump house.
correct, yes. This pump house is literally in the middle of the
That's would be, okay.
proposed building.
Oh, it's in the middle.
Yes.
That's where the swimming pool goes.
Yeah.
So, Mark, can you tell us a little bit about the existing drainage? Because I don't think any of us were around when it was designed, so I'm not that familiar with how it's functioning today. Like, is it functioning well? What are some of the BMPs that are used in the parking areas?
Let's use, actually, one of the actual plan sheets might be best to show that.
Yeah, do I have all of those? Because I thought I had two sheets.
I gave you a rolled up full set,
Oh, I didn't
but
bring
have
that.
same, I
Okay.
have that same thing, so.
I will tell you, you have the best colorized maps I've seen since I've been on the
Yeah,
commission.
yeah,
This
Well, I spoke too soon.
this is
Black and white.
I don't have just the existing conditions plan, but let's just go back to this. This parking lot basically sheet flows to the basin through a very vegetated area.
Mhm.
There's essentially, other than that, filtering through off the vegetated side, that's the extent of a BMP for that existing area. And it does have a full-size basin that eventually overflows, so it gets treatment through the basin and things like that. But the pre-treatment is limited to the sheet flow through that.
And what would you say, is that like 50 feet, 20 feet, 10 feet?
It's about 20 feet. The rest of the pavement, including this parking lot over here, and this parking lot, is captured through catch basins and discharged out to the basin in front. There's another stormwater basin out front.
Okay.
So what we're
But
proposing.
that doesn't flow into wetlands, the front one? Is it that also?
It does have an overflow discharge pipe to the wetlands in this area. That's, I
Okay.
believe that's what that is, and that's,
That's existing.
yes.
So on your management plan now, when you're clearing it and it's icy, do you use salt and, are you sand, do you use a combination of the two?
We probably
I believe it's just sand, it's not salt.
Just sand?
So for the drainage for the project, what we're proposing is all the roof runoff is proposing to be captured and sent to the basin and back. Solely roof runoff only. There's no catch basins or anything in that pipe.
What's the roof gonna be made of? I mean, is it asphalt?
Would it be angled on this building?
It would either, well, that's a good question. It would either be cedar shingle or it would be an asphalt shingle.
It's not a flat roof.
No, so it's kind of a hip roof,
Mhm.
and that's where the HVAC hides in the top, reaching the unit, so it would be visible.
So the runoff would be captured either through gutters or roof drains or, we're proposing to capture all the roof runoff and that gets sent by itself, just out to the basin. The remaining
Is
pavement.
that gonna add to the basin's water management? Is there gonna be more water in it than before?
It will not be more water. It's, the pavement that's being removed in this area.
Is it gonna net
that
decrease
should-
in the
correct,
permeability?
yes. The rest of
That's the statement.
the catch basins serving this area, which is here. So basically, anything past this point does continue to sheet flow, which these final catch basins. And this one are proposed to be captured and sent through the existing drainage system.
See, just to understand this. So the catch basin is right around here somewhere? It's not on this, where is the catch basin?
This entire area sheet flow, the existing area sheet flows. This drainage for the roof runoff will discharge to this,
Wasn't it on the first one?
I think it
See,
is.
where's the basin on that map? Is right there. It's at the back of the
Parking.
parking,
lot.
not the front.
No.
correct?
So it's over here? Is this where the
Yeah,
basin
yeah,
is?
Yeah.
it's very.
Yeah, it might be helpful if,
hard to-
if we require any other plans, maybe we have the basin on that
This,
plan with the,
You can see there's gray lines here, that's how I'm tracing. This is the existing drainage basin.
oh, okay,
Okay.
pick it up.
And this is the drain pipe comes over to that area for the roof runoff.
So I guess my question is, even though, this is still gonna be paved, correct?
Correct.
So a lot more is gonna be directed this way instead of down that way, is that?
Well,
that's-
this is, don't forget, this is all paved right now. So this is all flashing to that right now, this whole section of that.
It's tilted to flash down that way?
The whole thing, yeah. This
You've
is all
seen
part
it?
of that parking lot. Well, I'm just going by the plans that are out there. But I'm saying, I think you're missing the fact that this is currently paved and flashing to that. This currently drains.
Yeah, but I think there's a difference. When you have a parking lot, you have a lot of overage, even if it has a slight run to the side.
Right.
Where here, everything 100% is gonna be directed to here in it with more velocity, I would think, when it comes down from the roof. So my only question is, can this catch basin
Or
all
detention
the
basin.
extra amount of water that I think
Yeah.
might be coming in a
You're
big
also
storm.
increasing permeable lands.
But it doesn't hit the permeable land over here because it goes down through here.
But
We've provided a full stormwater report, and
Yeah.
we've reduced impervious area enough that
Do you have that report, Carol?
Yeah.
the volume is not being increased to
Okay.
that.
So there may be an increase from the roof, but there'll be a decrease from
Correct.
surrounding area.
I hear what you say, but I want to look at the report because
Okay.
it's not sinking in here very well.
That's what
I hear what
the
you
report says.
say,
Okay.
But it also sounds like, so,
because the water flows differently off a roof than it does on the ground too. That's my
Correct.
point. So more of it's going to be directed here and less is going in that way. From what it is now.
well, because the whole roof is gonna go towards the detention basin, so
Correct.
that is true. I mean, but whatever is sinking into the ground there is half of the building, I guess, right? Or not quite half, but that's about half of the building. That's,
I
so
Sorry,
that's-
This
think
turns to
Bob's-
green space.
Bob's point,
That's-
if you had a funnel and a pipe
Right.
leading from the parking lot, all of the water that fell in the parking lot would end up in the drainage, but it doesn't. Something less than that does currently. With the roof, you get all of the water that falls on the roof piped in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it is graded as such, the water does get to where the sheet flow begins. It does flow that way to the basin.
So there's no berm from the years of sand buildup and? it's-
There is, which actually keeps it on the pavement and sends it that way. It's actually, it makes it off in a sheet flow fashion. It probably definitely could use some cleanup through that area, but I witnessed the snow. The snow was piled along the middle, the inside of these islands and not the exterior, into the basin, basically.
Now, also, your claim is not that the new arrangement corresponds to the old arrangement. You actually said that you've made it better, so you've got some wiggle room in there, presumably.
Well, what have you made better? I don't-
You've decreased the amount of impermeability, so you've increased the ability to accept water.
But there's
What
other
you
ways
said.
of making improvements. I guess I was
That's
looking
what
for
I'm saying.
more than just a decreasing of the volume. Because the decreasing of the volume was, I don't remember the figures. Is it a significant amount?
It's not significant.
No. Okay. I mean, because we don't want a significant amount of decrease so that the wetlands aren't getting the water that needs to get to them, right? So that's part of that. But, I guess I haven't gone through the full stormwater report too either, so I don't know whether you've proposed some improvements, BMP types of improvements. And I think certainly that would be the kind of thing that would help, in the long term, so that, the management of the parking lots, they know where to do the snow, they know
Is
where to
that
put
written,
snow
the
and
management
ice.
of the parking, is that in writing?
Exact location of snow is not included as a.
But there is a written report? on-
Yes,
on
there is an
management?
O&M report.
Did you have a copy of that too?
Well, if it's in there, I haven't gone through the
Yes.
whole stormwater
Okay.
review.
One thing, back onto the drainage, the rest of the drainage, which is captured in catch basins and sent out to the basin out front, we are proposing a storm scepter unit to treat that, which does not exist today. So that we're not proposing any more volume, but we are proposing to add that treatment unit prior to discharge.
And how's it gonna be treated?
Through the storm scepter.
Deep sump catch basins and
Okay.
storm scepter to the basin, which right now is just deep sump catch basins, so we
Okay.
are.
So they are deep sump catch basins that are there now?
Correct.
So, and then with the storm scepter, again, I haven't gone through the whole report, so really should probably, before I ask all the questions, but did you propose how that gets maintained, like how often? Is
Yes,
there-
the storm scepter maintenance
Okay.
program is in there, so we have added that. Again, this existing parking area, we have not proposed any new PMPs at this point.
So some of the things that, like snow and ice management and possibly, again, when we look at the site, maybe we'll have some comment, but it sounds like, I know that's what happens on the roads, that a berm builds up over time.
Yeah.
So you don't want to have that, so maybe that's something that could be added as a part of the operation and maintenance. As well as, I guess, is there any improvement in the parking lot at all for taking water so that it's not all just sheeting off only over 20 feet, you know, because it's all such superheated water?
There's nothing new proposed.
So are there islands there now at all, or?
In the existing,
Yeah.
yes, there's
Right.
islands
Mhm.
spaced the entire
And are
way.
they level flat with the parking lot? Like they take some stormwater off? or-
I would have to say they're probably raised.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
If I got
But so that might be something we could look at, whether that would be an improvement,
Creating some sort of,
like semi-rain garden type of thing.
Well, I think we'd also be open to some sort of cistern collecting the roof water, so we can use it as irrigation.
Mhm.
So we could spread that around the grass area.
Yeah, I mean, it's the heatedness of it in part, and then whatever chemicals and pollutants, you know, so we
But the
really.
roof is clean.
Well, again, that's why
So
we're
we
asking,
can-
asphalt's
we
not as
can-
clean as
No, the asphalt, no. but-
shingles. I mean,
But the roof is.
no,
So
but I mean,
we
asphalt
could-
shingles still have stuff that comes out of it. And if it's a flat roof, which is what Lori asked, that's usually treated differently anyway.
It's not, yeah, correct. There's a flat roof with a typical EPDM rubber type,
Yeah.
so that's not what was proposed. So really, it was really kind of a hip roof that's coming in, and then on the top of the hip roof, there would be a section where the HVAC is covered, so you don't see that from the street.
Mhm.
So gutters and everything around the exterior, down the lower side, and you can collect all that. And then interior roof drain for the drainage at the flat roof.
Is it, so the flat roof would be a rubberized roof, or?
Most likely, I would probably say that's probably the only thing you can put there for that product. In that smaller section, that's not a large section.
Is there currently irrigation pipes, or is it, like, how is, like, would you be putting irrigation in for the assisted living, or do you have it in for the business park?
I think we only have it in the garden, areas up in this area, this
Mhm.
location that's close to the front of the building.
So if you did a cistern, it would, what do you think
If
it
we
would be
did
just for
something
the
here,
assisted
it
living
would just be
facility?
for that facility
Okay,
and collecting
and
it.
sort of the same, so it
Just the
might be for
front
the
of the
gardens?
facility, or?
No, I,
potentially in between the building and the
Right.
walkway too, I would feel we'd wanna.
That's
Keep that
grass
up.
now?
that's nothing, that's over there?
Yeah.
This is
There
all
is-
pavement right now.
But, yeah,
Being
but I'm
proposed.
saying,
This high point is
this over
grass.
here is,
A lot of it is grass, yes.
Yes.
and do you maintain it and cut it, or does it just grow?
That just grows.
So that's all wild in there?
Mhm.
Okay.
Some of it's maintained, some of it's wild
You think this time of year we'll be able to see that distinction pretty well?
in that area. I did, lay out the building. It is, you can visit the site, you'll be able to see where that building is located in orange paint.
Okay.
And in red stakes is this dark aluminum fork that
Okay.
comes around here. You'll see that it's,
And how far is the path from the building? Did you mark anything for the
I
path?
did not do the path. It's basically in between the building and
Okay.
the red
So about equidistant?
stakes. Yeah. I think you'll see that all those red stakes are either out in the maintained grass areas or.
And what are your plans that you need irrigation for between the path and the building? What are you gonna be doing in there?
I feel we'd have maintained grass in between that path and the building. Just more or less grass, potentially some landscape islands, but mostly grass. And then we could, I think the actual site plans show what I was proposing for the grass areas. Actually, a slight buffer on the other side so that it wouldn't encroach. But this hatched area is what's currently proposed as either grass or landscaping. So basically just a small buffer off to, and I think you'll see this, when you're out there, you'll see this well, and it's pretty well maintained, so we're actually proposing to And this is the
naturalized.
well, yeah, this is the well that's being relocated out of there, so to actually add some natural areas back in there.
Is this parking lot on your other side? This is the parking lot where I'm back?
That's up
Yeah.
front, that this
Yes.
drawing's reversed.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, I was looking at the other way, all right, that makes sense. And yeah, that's the existing one, sorry.
It's a new, well location, marked.
The new well down at the end of the parking lot is not marked.
That's just,
Be off.
outside of the
It'll just be off.
catch basin.
Detention basin, yeah.
Detention.
What,
Yes.
what is the access to?
It would just come right off the parking lot, literally
It's just a
50
flat
feet up the side,
section.
yes.
The other thing I was trying to just tell from the plans, were you proposing to pave some of the access road then? Off of the driveway, off of the parking area? It was colored gray, it was a little wider.
I have it proposed as gravel once it
Oh,
comes
it's gravel,
off
okay.
the end.
So this is wetlands over here too? And what is the 75 foot for this one? On this side, is that this?
This is the 25,
Yes.
and this is, yes, that's 75 from the 25.
So is there much grading with the building? Like you've got the corner of the building sort of at the edge of the buffer on that?
Should have a grading plan there. Basically, the building will come up some from the existing parking lot. Like the existing parking lot is at 348 versus 354 in some areas. And then the site begins to go back up again, so there's not much change of grade as you're coming to the front of the site. This back corner parking lot will be graded up some.
I guess Carol was talking about areas like this,
Yeah, not
Yeah, with
really.
you
They're,
know, with it, you're so close to the 75 foot.
they're, once you're inside this
Yeah, it's
limit
within the
of work,
limit of work area. but
there
not-
will be disturbance.
Okay.
So did you say you did, when that rolled up set you gave me includes all these?
Yes,
Okay.
so inside the, what's the red stakes out there, out in the field will be disturbed, basically.
No retaining walls needed.
No
on those
retaining walls
back
needed.
corners.
What about foundation drainage for the building?
At the location, groundwater, at the septic system was at 347, the building's at 354. We would probably, still, the bottom of the foundation would still be a couple feet above groundwater, but we'd probably look at that, potentially look at foundation drains, if it's that close.
And where would they flow to?
They, again, would, they would flow out to the basin, or they would, I don't know if we could, I don't think we could daylight them into this area. We'd have to go to the lower site. That'll be dependent on final foundation design. We just have some architectural renderings at this point, so we're still working towards, construction documents.
Well, I haven't done a lot of, a full review, having been away last week and then just kind of getting caught up with what he had submitted. So, I mean, I certainly feel like I need to spend some time looking at it to have it, see if I have any other questions. But I think it sounds like you guys typically want to do your wetland delineation site visit and look at the staked out areas.
Mhm.
I mean, did you do the delineation yourself?
I did not, Brad Holmes did from, and
Because usually they
They-
have a consultant at the site visits in case they want
Okay.
to move something or.
Have we dealt with Brad Holmes? Doesn't sound familiar to me.
I don't
It's
think,
probably
What
not.
firm is he with?
he's with ECR, they're in Plymouth, so I don't
Oh,
believe.
so no, we haven't dealt with him.
They were done back in the summer, so if we need to reset flags, we can do that.
Yeah.
If if that's something you'd like to see, fresh flags out there that need to be.
Well, we wanna make sure the delineation's correct.
So what we've just found in the past is a lot of the people go out and they use the old 50-year plans. And when we get to the site, it's not even close. So it just saves everybody a lot of time to do it right the first time.
Well, it sounds like it was recently done. just
Yeah,
with
it
his
is.
Well, we don't know what he
flags.
did.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
there is a delineation, there is a full report inside
Okay.
the NOI filing, the DEP data sheets and everything.
Yeah,
So it was last summer?
We could stake to all these points, I guess that's up to,
Well, are the flags still hanging?
I saw some of them definitely, I don't know if every flag is there, basically.
yeah, okay.
We could, if you need them to be, we can.
It'd be nice to have enough flags so we
Okay.
could take a look and see what's going on.
I can do a quick walkthrough and see if most of them are there, and if not, we'll reset them maybe by actual stakeout survey.
We're not saying they're wrong. We're
Okay.
just- We've learned.
He
that
found
when
a
we-
lot more wetlands on site than we wanted to see, so.
Well, this is a good time to be looking at it.
May I ask a couple of questions?
Yes, you just need to state your name for the record.
Yes, Ada Woolston from Main Street. I'm one of the community garden members. I just would like to know how it would be with the access to the community garden.
I think they're building a toll road. But if you work in the gardens, you get a
No,
discount.
thank you.
You just wanna look at this plan.
Yeah.
Right now, the dirt road, I think you see the little shed that you drive by?
Oh, yeah.
That's this blue line right here.
Yeah,
What we're proposing is off the end of this parking lot is a nice gravel
yeah, I know.
road out to the back. And then this piece can be maintained. I'm not sure if this serves a function.
Lots of people.
Well, at one point, I know, I thought that the pickup truck to go to the wastewater treatment facility
I
maybe
saw him
went that way.
pulling that, yeah, I was
Mowers,
there.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think he came up that way. But we can.
Because I'm not sure during school whether they go through like because the only way to go to it otherwise is through the school playground. You know, so I don't know.
There are a lot of people who walk there.
There's no reason that this can't be maintained, this access way as well.
Mhm.
It's set up to maintain that.
So
access.
Ada, I know there's been some discussion with some of the use, because the kids use the playing fields
Right.
in addition to the community garden there. And then there were some questions that have been raised over the last few years about turning around, like it gets kind of mucky in
Oh, it's
places.
terrible.
It's probably-
You know, so I guess I'm just throwing it out there, because if you're going to be putting gravel, maybe you could look at it in the field and sort of see where some of those places are that are really kind
Well,
of,
this is
mucky, 'cause it
one
might-
of the, and it is really the people who mow the area who did that.
well, and we're not,
Is that all on our property or is that the town property?
It goes quite a
That's on their
ways.
property.
The
This
gardens are
looks-
too?
No,
No.
the gardens are on the, but
gardens
we
are on
had,
the-
I mean, the original,
Yeah.
originators of the gardens asked for permission
Hmm?
to use that roadway
Right.
just for the gardeners. Because you have to bring in tools and other things, bags with
Mhm.
compost and stuff like that.
And that's written right into the special permit for the existing building that needs to be maintained, so we're proposing to.
yeah, so I just thought maybe we should look at how far the gravel goes, because there were some comments that if people were turning around, sometimes they were doing like a little loop, instead of backing up, and
Right.
rather than create mucky areas that make it continue to push towards into the more natural areas, it might be better to define it.
Yeah.
There's still some gardens available. I had seen something on Bolton Local that there were still, I was gonna tell Jeff that he could put it up to your employees.
Yeah, well, we did that in the very beginning and nobody was interested.
No.
I've talked with people there from the office
Right.
building who walk there, and they like to come and look at the things, but nobody wants to come.
No, we might get new
You
takers,
should.
because it's,
Well,
Well, it is.
now that
an
it's, I mean, in the
area.
beginning, you didn't know how it was gonna work out,
No, but
it
we
looked so
haven't-
much nicer.
We have made it available. right
Yeah.
from the
Is
beginning.
the gardens on town land or conservation?
On
land?
town land.
Town.
It's
Okay,
not-
so we don't have any right to the vegetables.
No, you don't.
Sorry, no, we have to.
They
walk
do
it.
have, they often have extras that they, you
Yeah.
know.
But they go to food banks.
Right.
And we have had to lock the garden because people were stealing, outside people.
Hmm.
So we have to lock some. But that's another thing, because this used to be a very narrow dirt road. And with all the mowing especially, it has become wider and wider, and it is going into what's kind of the wild areas. Makes me feel.
Yeah, so I think we want
furious.
to, right, it would be nice to define a little bit of what's gonna be mowed and what isn't. And I'm not saying that you guys have mowed it, because we
No,
have
no.
inquired, and we think maybe our DPW has done
Yes,
some of
we
it.
have.
Okay.
Because they go and they mow the field,
Yeah.
you know, for the playing field. And so, all good intentions, you know, they think they're making an improvement, whereas other people wanna see it left more natural. And that area's got a lot of good wildlife in it, you know, in the grassy areas, you know,
In the
so a lot of
grassy
butterflies and a
areas,
lot of birds and.
The milkweed is for the endangered monarchs of almost, and butterflies and the whole thing. So that was my other one. The second question is about this, because I know that the people coming from, who are visiting the senior center often have to park here because there's no other place for them to park. You know, this is part of the existing parking lot, right?
No.
Yeah, but that part, the parking lot, I think, goes with our building, doesn't it?
Right,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
not the senior citizens, no.
That
No,
one?
yeah, this
Yeah,
parking
that
lot here is,
parking
Yeah.
is
That's
on,
right.
is on
That
this
one.
The
one.
thing is that there's so little parking space
Right.
here, that if you are a visitor, you end up parking here. And so very often, if there is something really important going on here, this parking lot has lots
Is
of.
that weekends primarily?
no, I think
don't know,
they're
it's
in, they have
events.
events.
But then,
They
if you have
events,
assisted living, your assisted living will probably have more parking on weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, it'd be the opposite of what it is now.
But that's good for the office, because the office is very little on the weekends.
Okay.
So you have that whole parking lot as well.
But will that still be available, what I'm saying, to people who visit
This-
the town senior center?
It-
Well,
yes.
I mean, nobody's using that primarily, these two on the weekends.
On the weekends, yes.
Yeah, so this potentially could fill up just from the users
Right,
here.
exactly.
Right.
It would just move on. I mean, we could make sure, we have walkways all the way to here, you know, we could
Right.
potentially connect either from this point to here.
Where is the
with a-
senior
with a walk-
center from, on that map?
Right
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 there?
there. Yeah, and
Okay.
a lot of people who come and visit are not very able themselves, or, you know,
Mhm.
don't walk to.
You'll be living in the assisted living,
Too expensive, my dear.
too expensive?
Assisted livings are expensive. And it, of course, will also add a lot more traffic to
Mhm.
117. I mean,
Well, it's not
that's-
gonna be that big of an assisted living, would you say
It's
60
60
beds?
beds.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have
It's
to, as far
relatively-
as the increase of traffic on 117, is there are lots of people who come and visit, the people living in assisted living.
Well, probably the planning board will take up that
Take it
aspect
up,
of it.
yes.
And as well as I'm sure, you know, the fire department will have comments on
We don't do
access
traffic,
and all
we
that
just
kind
do
of
No, I
water.
know, it's that I live on Main Street, you know,
Oh.
I've walked here from my house.
But again, the visitors are more likely to be there on the weekends when there's less.
Oh, you would be
Community.
surprised. Yeah, where assisted living is, some of the people are there.
Is that big enough that they make you do a traffic study?
You know, they, I mean, this isn't really the right place to say it, but we oughta, I mean, there should be some consideration maybe over the septic system of having some emergency or extra parking for the senior housing.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe it doesn't have to be paved, but it could be, you know, I mean, somebody could look at that because there really isn't enough space there.
No.
But you hate to have more pavement,
Oh, I know.
especially when,
I know.
right now, it's underutilized at your
Right,
site,
yeah.
you know, but, and I know you
It's
hope
wide
it's
open.
more widely utilized, but.
Yeah.
And can I also say, I mean, I don't know, we're talking about going to town meeting May 5th, and one of the things that the planning board's proposing is the village overlay district, which this property would fall under. And so there's potential with that happening that there could be other changes that come on this site. I don't know if you,
That's what was voted down last year, the original?
it was.
It's not changed.
They changed what they're gonna propose?
Don't ask me what, but yes.
Well, they'll be able to give you.
Because
an
that,
overview.
is that office building full now? It doesn't seem
No.
that busy.
No.
No,
It's,
it's not.
I don't see a lot of traffic there at all.
Correct.
I see more people using it to turn around than going
It
in.
presently has about a 50% occupancy.
50%.
Then one of the tenants will be leaving, so it's gonna reduce.
Not again.
It's gonna reduce down in the high 30s.
Wow. Do you have any planned changes for that building, or?
Not at this time, so we're
Okay.
just kind of sitting, waiting to see what happens. Yep.
Can't use that for assisted living or
Um,
senior housing.
Potentially,
I don't know.
potentially.
This is not the place to discuss any of that, I don't know.
So we have to pick a time to have a site walk,
Mhm.
and everything's staked out, but you're gonna check the wetland flags?
So we have a meeting in 2 weeks, and then we don't meet again till May 20th, because town meeting's the first Tuesday
Right,
of the
and this
month.
weekend is Easter, so if that's a problem
So
for
if we can do
anybody.
an evening one, would be a lot nicer than
Yeah, maybe after
showing
work.
up on a weekend.
I think I'm the only one that can go Sunday.
Can we do it next
Oh, you can go
Tuesday?
Sunday too.
Yeah.
And then I could join you,
When,
if you did it next Tuesday night.
That works for me.
you're early before it gets dark.
Tuesday night.
Will someone be there to show us around, or?
I can be there.
Do you think you'd have time to check the wetland flags by then?
I could have them checked, I don't know if I could, you know, if there's a significant amount that are missing. I don't
We'll
believe,
review it.
yeah.
So why don't we plan on that, and then if
Right.
we have to go back to check the delineation in places or
Okay.
something, we could figure that out, or
You bring the auger?
I can bring the auger.
What time are we gonna meet? Can everyone go at that time, or that night, Tuesday night?
Next Tuesday?
Yeah,
Okay. I think so.
I should be fine, yeah.
yeah, sure, okay.
About, what, 6:30? Or
That's-
what, earlier than that,
Yeah.
5?
Yeah, just to make sure we have enough light.
Right.
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock,
Because when does it get dark now, about 7?
7:30.
It depends if it's cloudy.
That's true.
It'll be a week later.
All right, we'll pick up a few minutes.
Yeah, I'm fine that night.
So we're saying 6 o'clock next Tuesday?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if I can make that night. I have an earlier appointment, but it might end. If I can, I'll come at 6. Maybe it'll be a little bit.
If you can't, and if you can't make it for some reason, then, it's, you know, it's so close, if there's a morning or something that you wanna go over,
Okay,
you know, I could do it again,
okay.
I can show you the stuff. If you don't mind that, if we did it, if she couldn't make it, to do it at a separate time.
No. No.
That's the 23rd, 22nd?
A week from today
22nd.
is the 22nd.
At 6. Seem to keep changing when I'm trying to spell.
So,
Right.
and then can we, have your consent to continue the hearing then? We usually, have you sign the continuation form. So, Bob, what was the last one you continued it to, 7:30? And then we didn't have the scouts in yet, so we could give them an earlier slot.
7:30 was last
So you wanna
time.
do, and that was for, was that for the common driveway?
Yeah, Avery Common
So you
Drive.
think that should only be 15 minutes?
We always get in 15 minutes
Right.
apart, so.
So give them 7:45?
Because that way, if it goes quickly,
Right.
because we can't start before the given time, so we might have to wait a little bit. 7:45, is that what you want to
Yeah.
do? Okay.
What was the date of that?
April 29th?
April 29th. I need to make a
Make the
motion for that?
Sure.
Right.
Well, yes, I think I put that down, but I don't know if we, yeah, motion
Let me
continued.
see. Yeah,
Put that
I
down.
make a motion to continue the hearing to April 29th at 7:45. All in favor? Aye. You just need to sign that you agree to
Yeah,
it.
can I use,
My
your
pen?
pen? Okay. 580 Main Street?
Correct.
What's the company that's running the assisted living?
That hasn't been determined yet.
Oh. And who's the developer?
It's the developer's house.
Oh, okay.
It's the owner of the property.
Pardon?
As the owner of the property.
Okay. Do you work for the company, or you own the?
Yes, we own the company.
You own the company?
Yep.
Okay.
And Mark is one of our affiliate entities that he runs that division.
Okay.
Do you use these? Do you collect these or not?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So few for such a big site.
They all came back.
What's that?
They all came back.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so who, when we go, what day did we decide, going?
Next
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Who's gonna be there?
I will be there.
Okay.
Best would be probably just drive to that back parking lot, the big parking lot back.
Okay.
I can make him one
Little
later.
white Toyota.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Since the Boy Scouts didn't show up, I think we covered everything, Carol.
Well, do you wanna talk about theirs, or just continue them, or?
I think they need to be here because we had some questions when we looked at what was going on.
Okay, right, well, I know on one of them in particular, but,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think we'll wait till,
okay.
I don't know what happened to them unless they got mixed up.
Yeah, I mean, I
With the
sent them
date
a
of
legal
the-
notice before I went on vacation, so I haven't
Yeah.
been in touch with them since then, but.
So I don't know if before we close, we want to talk about the site walk that Jim and I did at Century Mill Estates.
Sure.
So if you remember the last meeting when they asked to go through the public land, there was a, they said there was cart path and you have to go through very much.
Fine.
So Jim and I went out and we did a site walk, and the way he ended up going was right along the neighbor's property.
What did it?
Yeah, and we didn't see a tree that he needed to cut down, but he said he was only gonna cut down one tree.
Right, we couldn't find it.
We couldn't find which one, unless he already cut it down. And he had a rubber mat over one spot, but he had taken his excavator and gone over the spots without the mat anyway. And the only concerns that Jim and I had was near the guy's septic system. It's quite elevated septic system. And there was a pipe coming out. And I wrote to them and asked what the pipe was, because it was flowing very heavily from the pipe and on top of the pipe. So I don't know if the pipe couldn't handle everything, or the pipe was cracked by an excavator going over it. They said that was the house drain, but it was pretty far from the house and was flowing into the public land. So I think we need to find out, what the story was there. It was very muddy. So Jim let me go first, and I took a step and went into my ankle.
Well, he's taller, so in case.
Yeah, I think it still see the top of my head. My boots are still drying out.
So I don't quite get it, so he didn't follow the existing path?
Well,
Or the existing path
exist-
just went along the edge of the
what-
lot?
What he said to us was the two existing paths, they didn't quite connect.
Right.
And he was gonna either go through the guy by the septic system, or he's gonna go around longer.
Mhm.
And he went by the septic system, and we couldn't tell where the public space was and where the private land was.
Well, there's boundary markers.
We didn't see any.
There were boundary markers.
We didn't see any.
They're just the round circles, and they're like every 100 feet. And
Did you
when
see any?
they were put in before they did the septic system.
Okay, we didn't see any.
Mhm.
And the only problem.
And can you say you would have a more difficult time seeing them on the open space because they're meant so that you see them really from the private land looking towards the open
Well,
space.
we walked on the side of the private land too.
You do.
Yeah. So the difficulty was that pipe was flowing heavily, and we don't know if it was causing
Erosion.
any erosion, but the septic system was causing erosion because there wasn't grass on it. And between the dirt and the septic system and where he went over with the excavator, it was very muddy, and it was some erosion going into the public land there. Question was how
It was
much?
actually flowing above the pipe, like the pipe might have been broken
Yeah,
from his
Mhm.
back.
yeah.
So, I thought that the deal was that he wasn't gonna do anything until the bond was posted, and the bond wasn't posted until I came back.
He drove all the way through. We could see the tracks, were fresh.
Isn't
'Cause
that
he
what
said
you
he-
remembered from the meeting, that
Yes.
he wasn't gonna do
Yes.
anything?
Yes.
And you remarked when we were there that the bond hadn't been posted yet.
Yes. And there was an excavator in the area there, that he left there. And he had this rubber mat that was about as long as this room. It's made of old tires. It's like a blasting mat rather than a mat for going over.
Mhm.
And, but you could tell he had driven through because there was fresh marks along the septic system where it was kind of muddy. And then it goes uphill and around, which I guess is his land at that point. So we didn't go all the way up there.
Mhm.
And the other thing we noticed was that on the road where he wants to build the culvert, we went to see what was going there because it was two big machines at the end there. And a lot of the silt fence has been knocked down and it's not being maintained. So we need to get him to maintain that silt fence there.
So one of the things that the town planner sent out last week to Alan Shockett, and I can't remember if Andy was copied or not, was that she wanted to establish, a construction schedule, have a pre-construction type of meeting, because if he was starting to do work in that phase, that's typically how it's been done in the past. And I don't believe she's had any response back on that yet. However, we are scheduled to meet with Alan Shockett on Thursday. We were originally going to meet last week to talk about the transfer of the open space and getting the trail easements finished and some other miscellaneous, things to get his into compliance with the order, as well as just to keep moving things along. And that had to get postponed with Alan, and town council was going to come. She was ill. So anyway, hopefully this Thursday we will be meeting and we can bring up some of these questions as to the status. Has he started? And I did get the bond posted, but
That was after you came back.
it was after I came back. It was 2
Yeah.
days into that. So if he'd been working that whole time.
So did it look like he was done there? Did he connect the two pieces?
They were connected. I think for all the equipment he has to get through, he has to take down some limbs and stuff in some areas, But he already had passed through there, I could see that. Do you agree with that he passed through there recently?
Yeah, he obviously didn't do the work that he was passing through there to do.
No, he just passed through. He made like where he was going with an excavator. It was a big excavator.
So maybe to move the mats in place and stuff like that.
Well, there was only one mat.
Or to prove what trees he didn't need to cut down.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't know if he was, where he went, where it was muddy, I don't know if that was
Where he was going to
town property or the
Yeah.
private owner's property. We couldn't tell.
Okay.
We didn't know enough to look for those bounds, so
Mhm.
they might have been there and we just didn't look.
Mhm.
We were just having enough trouble not getting stuck in the quicksand.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, I had to take my boots off to get in my car.
So we'll be wearing hip waders when we go, is that what you're suggesting?
Hip waders and a helium balloon in case you get sucked under to keep you out. It just happened, because he was in a rush, we went and it had just rained a lot the day before.
Mhm,
And it
right.
was- And where that excavator goes, it looks like it's solid, but the weight of it makes it really like mush underneath. So at the top, there's like a thin crust, and when you step on it, you just go in, up to your ankles.
Okay, well, I'll find out about that on Thursday and send you guys an email. Tomorrow afternoon, I'm going to DEP is doing some not brown bags, but some workshops on proposed regulation changes. So we'll be finding out what they're going to be doing again. Once we get it down. Okay.
So, should we adjourn?
So, yeah, so we can adjourn, just remind everyone to look at the doodle poll link, and, because I'd like to know whether we can have enough of a group, a quorum, to either post a meeting with the planning board or to call a separate meeting, if we need to.
You sent out a doodle poll?
Yeah, embedded in my, email for the packet.
Okay, I didn't even notice that.
Is that where I sent it, or did I send it separate? I can't
I think it's in
remember.
that one,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's down the bottom.
Yeah,
I verified that.
but I can send it again if you need me to. Should I send it again?
I just want to see if I had it. I didn't notice it. I find it's a big time saver not to read the entire email.
All right, I think we should adjourn at this point.
All right, so let's adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Good evening.